Swadika, very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Nan Bunag, live at the studio, and Kun Tulip Naksupoblau is live from home. Swadika, Kun Tulip.
Swadika, good evening.
How's everything going for you?
Everything is great. Beside the fact that there's all the both virus and dust everywhere in the air, everything else is fine. You
Right.
just cannot go out.
Definitely, because of the dust levels are really high today, and I think people are sort of feeling this irritation right now. So there's another reason why we should keep wearing our face masks.
And usually at the end of the day, it's better. But today it's not the case because right now it's still like 150, 160 out there.
Right. And today
Let's get to our COVID-19 update. Today we record 309 new COVID-19 cases today. Thailand recorded these 309 new cases, bringing the total to 13,104. Good news is there is no fatalities. And there are 2,809 people currently receiving treatment, including 10 in a severe condition. Dr. Tawisin Visanuyotin, the CCSA spokesperson, said that the high number of new cases resulted from proactive screening, which found 217, the majority of the new cases. 12 imported cases are from Lebanon, the United Kingdom, Estonia, the United Arab Emirates, Italy, Sudan, Switzerland, Sri Lanka, and Germany. And of course, in Thailand, Samut Sakhon is still the center of the current outbreak. The youngest new infection is 4-year-old girl. Over 5,000 cases have been found in the province in the latest outbreak, while Bangkok and Chonburi have seen almost 650. Dr. Tawisin said Bangkok might see a rise in infections in the next few weeks, resulting from proactive screening in areas where a lot of factories are located. The spokesperson said that we have to live with the virus. Everyone is at risk. Everyone can get infected and everyone must wear a mask, wash their hands frequently, and keep their distance. During the press conference, he was coughing a little bit. So he was saying that maybe he should get tested. And he said, if you don't feel well, you should get tested. And he said, that's why he said everyone is at risk, because he was coughing and he said he was also at risk.
And it looks like he is going to go through the self-quarantine himself because recently a news anchor from NBT has been tested positive for COVID-19. And today, the CCSA spokesperson, Dr. Tawisin, revealed today that he will be tested for COVID-19 and will self-quarantine after a news anchor from Thailand's state broadcaster NBT tested positive for the virus. Dr. Tawisin explained that people at high risk are those who work with the news anchor, including an assistant at the CCSA's news briefing who had close contact with Dr. Tawisin. After the news of the infected TV news anchor broke out, the Disease Control Department launched a tracing exercise to identify people who are at high, medium, and low risk. All of the employees of NBT have been asked to leave the building and take swab tests. The entire facility is now closed for cleaning and disinfection. However, the channel's live news program will continue as scheduled, but will be broadcast from outside the building for the time being. So it looks like the spokesperson is going through the quarantine himself because of the recent situation here.
Will be interesting. And I believe that he already take a test, right? But we don't know the result yet. So I assume that we will probably know tomorrow. And tomorrow we probably have Dr. Apisamai do the press briefing instead. Now let's talk about some provinces that's starting to ease the lockdown measures. There are Ayutthaya, Nakhon Ratchasima that announcing they will ease some lockdown. In the Ayutthaya province, the governor Panu Yamsi announced that health establishments Spas and foot massage operators can reopen from January 26th, but still with COVID-19 control measures. Operators will also be given guidelines on reopening their businesses safely and correctly. In Nakhon Ratchasima province, travelers from 23 highly controlled provinces such as Bangkok, Kanchanaburi, Chha Cheong Sao, Tak, Chumphon, Nakhon Nayok, Nakhon Pathom, Nonthaburi, and Pathum Thani no longer need to quarantine for 14 days. However, according to the statement released by Provincial Governor Vichian Chantaranothai, travelers from the highly controlled provinces staying in Nakhon Ratchasima for more than 14 days are required to report to the village headman, district chief, health officer, or a communicable disease control officer within 12 hours for screening and risk assessment. And if staying overnight, the traveler has to report to provincial health officials as well as observe strict control measures. Those who still need to quarantine for 14 days are travelers from the 5 red zone provinces, Samut Sakhon, Rayong, Chonburi, Chanthaburi, and Phra province. They also have to report to the village headman or health volunteer within 12 hours and present documents showing the necessity of that trip. As for the guidelines on holding large gatherings, if fewer than 300 people are participating, the organizer has to notify the district public health office. If more than 300 people are participating, the event must be approved by the Provincial Communicable Disease Committee, similar to Bangkok. In Bangkok, if you're going to hold the events that have participants more than 300, you have to get authorization from BMA first.
Right, and if we all remember, yesterday we reported on famous actor DJ Matum, who has revealed to be infected with COVID-19. And based on his timeline, he actually went to the GMM Grammy place for a recording of his TV show. And yesterday, 331 employees of the company underwent swab tests after DJ Matum visited the GMM Grammy building on January the 8th, 18th, and 19th for a TV show recording. Of the 331 employees, 12 of them faced a high risk of infection. But so far, the COVID-19 tests on all employees have returned negative results. Nonetheless, the authorities have advised everybody in the building to follow public health measures strictly, including wearing a mask, keeping hands clean, and practicing social distancing. So basically, the employees of GMM Grammy have been cleared of COVID-19. So that is good news for today.
Yes, that is good news. And we can see that every time there is something like this happen, the official try to do the mass screening test, like the proactive one, just to make sure that they find every case possible. Because like I said, most cases they found lately are asymptomatic. So they can still spread the virus, they just don't show symptoms.
Definitely.
Now,
yep. And so definitely we've learned the results for the employees of GMM Grammy. For tomorrow, we might be hearing the results of the NBT employees because the swab tests have already done there today. So the results will hopefully come out tomorrow.
Now let's get to the vaccine story. We try to report to the viewers every day when we hear some update, whether from the government, from experts, from overseas, from the company itself. Today, Dr. Yong Puvirawan, which is a Thai virologist, has said that the efficacy of any vaccine, including COVID-19 vaccines, tend to be lower when used in the field to inoculate millions of people when compared to results produced during clinical trials. He cited the case of hepatitis B vaccine, which its manufacturer claimed had efficacy of between 94 to 95%. When the vaccine was used in mass inoculations, however, its efficacy dropped to about 80%. Likewise, he said that 95% efficacy of a COVID-19 vaccine as claimed by Pfizer during the trial period is likely to drop due to several variables. Dr. Yong said that about 30% of population of Israel have already been inoculated using the Pfizer vaccine, adding that the actual mass efficacy of this vaccine will be known soon. Likewise, he said that the real efficacy of Chinese vaccine, Sinopharm, which has been injected to about 20% of the population of the United Arab Emirates, will also be known shortly. He recommended that Thai people do not rely on vaccines alone, even when the vaccines are available, but to protect themselves by strictly observing basic safety standards, wearing face masks all the time while outdoors and in crowded places, regularly washing their hands with sanitizer, and maintaining social distancing. So far, Thailand has placed order for 26 million doses of vaccine from AstraZeneca and for the Sinovac vaccine from China. And yesterday, we also reported to you that next month, beside the vaccine from China, which haven't get the Thai FDA approved yet, but AstraZeneca already it's about to get Thailand approval, and it will arrive in Thailand next month as well. So the vaccine is coming. Just depends on how it's going to roll out and who's going to get it first. And I think the public have to learn more about the side effect. What do they expect when they get the vaccine?
Right, and if we remember yesterday, we had a chance to talk to the Minister of Education on whether schools will open on February the 1st. But right now, the biggest priority is to disinfect all schools before the reopening around a couple weeks. And recently, the Thai Army has deployed special task forces to clean and disinfect schools in Bangkok and its suburbs before on-site classes resume on February the 1st, according to the Army's assistant spokesperson, Kannanat Phorniphatkul. She said the task force's vehicles equipped with chemical disinfectant sprayers have been visiting schools since January 20th. She said the Army is supporting the government in implementing the disease control measures, including setting up of isolation facilities and field hospitals on the Army's grounds and health screening checkpoints along the border. The Army is also providing food delivery services, haircuts, and electrical appliance repairs. So that is what the Thai Army has been doing so far with the schools. And this is actually very important here because the children's health and safety is the biggest priority, because we are pretty sure that we don't want any of the students to be infected with the virus. So that is why they have to clean and disinfect the campus first.
The good thing is, so far we haven't heard so much news that any children get infected from school. And most of the time, children likely not to have severe symptoms. Right. So I think older people, senior citizens are more at risk. But of course, we have to not let our guard down and make sure all schools have their safety measures in place, just to be precautious.
Yep.
And this is a favorite part for me, the Mythbuster by WHO. I like to go on their website time to time to see if there is anything interesting. Let's see the first one. Water or swimming does not transmit the COVID-19 virus. WHO said that the COVID-19 virus does not transmit through water while swimming. However, the virus spreads between people when someone has close contact with an infected person. So what you can do is avoiding crowds and maintain at least a meter distance from others, even when you are swimming or at swimming areas. Wear a mask when you are not in the water, and you cannot stay distant. Clean your hands frequently. Cover a cough or sneeze with a tissue or bent elbow, and stay home if you are unwell. And another myth is the question whether people should wear masks while exercising. The WHO said that people should not wear masks when they exercise, as masks may reduce the ability to breathe comfortably. Sweat can make the mask become wet more quickly, which makes it difficult to breathe and promotes the growth of microorganisms. The important preventive measures during exercise to maintain physical distance of at least 1 meter from others. I would suggest more than 1 meter, probably good, because if somebody run in front of you and they sneeze and you just like a meter behind them, there's a chance that the virus still get to you.
And it's scary as well.
So
and
more than 1 meter, probably better.
Yeah, and with the wearing masks while exercising, that has been something that we should never do anyway. And if we all remember last year when the outbreak started in China and has spread to other countries in Asia during that time, there has been a case where a couple of Chinese students died during PE class because they were wearing this face mask during like the sport class. And because of the measures and the rules that were imposed at the time that you must wear face mask at all times, but what about during PE class? How is it possible to wear a face mask when you're exercising? Because when you exercise or do sports, you breathe harder compared to when we're talking or just sitting doing nothing at all. So there has been a case in China last year, so that was alarming for many of the parents that exercising and wearing a face mask at the same time doesn't work.
If you go to the park though in Thailand, they actually said you must wear face mask. Although when you exercising, jogging or riding bicycle, they said that you can lower the mask down and you can breathe through your nose. So you can just have your nose exposed to the air.
Right.
So I guess that probably helped, but it's as good as not wearing mask. If you open the mask and just expose your nose to the air.
That makes sense. And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Thank you for watching and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ